You know, they say that if you intend on stepping from your current lifestyle, there's some things you're going to have to do. There's some things you're going to have to accept, some things you're going to have to take a look at. We actually aren't that good at doing any of those things. Has anybody tried to focus on what it is they need to do? I mean, you kind of get confused, am I right? Yeah, you kind of get confused. So what happens is, since we are so confused, we need other people to kind of guide us and help us kind of straighten it out. They say that 90% of what we do centers around behavior. See, 10% of it is getting the chemical out of us. And actually, when you go through detox, that goal literally has been accomplished. Once you go through detox, you are actually chemical free. But the other part regarding the behavior is a composite of a lot of different things we need to do. And I think a lot of times when we're talking about behavior, we just use that generic term, behavior, but we never really break it down to actually what we're talking about in terms of behavior. So what I want to try to do is kind of break that down for you. Let's take a look at behavior. Well, when we talk about behavior, there are some influences that influence our behavior. But the pieces that I want us to take a look at in here today are where I go, what I do, and how I react. Because you'll find out all three of these influence our behavior. Let's take a look at where I go. When we're talking about addiction, where are the places that I go? Well, I go to the dope house often, am I right? Yeah. Nobody ever has to clarify that for me. I go to the dope house often, several times a day. In fact, as many times as I can get there, am I right?
Right.
I used to laugh. We say, well, I'm going to save some money so for later on. Save? How many people in here have used cocaine before? You ever tried to save any money when you using cocaine? Yeah.
I tried.
I'm not going to use this until 6 o'clock tonight. Yeah. I'm going to use this 3 minutes later. You can take that to the bank.
Right. Right on.
Where I go. All right? Well, let's take a look at the people that I'm. Most of the people that I go around are other users. All right?
Right.
Other users. And make no mistake about it, I don't go anywhere where they're not using.
Right.
Right? In fact, when you start getting high, church is out. Am I right?
Right.
We kind of separate ourselves from God.
Right.
Because first of all, we know deep down inside, God don't really appreciate the way we're doing ourselves. Am I right?
Right.
So we immediately separate ourselves from God. Well, I look up, and then all of a sudden, getting high separates me from my family. Am I right?
Right.
Because they start looking at you when you come in the door like this. And the first thing they say is, you've been messing with that stuff. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right? And what used to kill me is, you don't even be to say nothing at that point. Am I right?
Right.
But already they can tell. They can just literally look across the room and see that you've been messing with that stuff. And then all of a sudden they start getting all concerned about your behavior and where you go. And you just slowly start to divorce yourself from them. Am I right?
Right.
Just push them a little further back, a little further back, and a little further back until finally they're at arm's distance from you. There's a big rift in between you and them. Where else do I go? Well, since getting high, you have to have revenue, money, and most of us walk off on our jobs. Am I right?
Right.
In fact, I walked off on so many jobs. I worked for Frito-Lay for about 4 hours. That's about as long as they could tolerate me. In fact, I walked off from so many jobs, told them that I was going somewhere, and just never came back. That was my MO. I'd leave in a minute and be gone, period. So we got to have revenue, am I right? Yeah. All right, well, you can't get cop money from your mama, right? We can't get cop money from grandma, right? Well, for a while. But you have to remember, there's not much you can do with $3 or $4. All right? Yeah. Yeah. There's not much you can do with $3 or $4. Am I right? So now all of a sudden, we got to become entrepreneurs, capable of generating, you like the way I said that? Entrepreneurs. All right? We got to be capable of generating revenue, right? So what's the way that we discover is the easiest for us to generate revenue? Huh? Stealing. And there's a lot of different ways we steal. We steal everything from merchandise to literally time. We tell somebody we're going to be somewhere at a certain time, we get there 12 hours later. Am I right?
Right.
All right? All right? Yeah, we get there 12 hours later. We take and pilfer all kind of things because we find that's the easiest way for us to generate revenue, which has us hanging off in a criminal element. All right? And most of us didn't know anything about the criminal element other than what we heard on the news or read in the paper until we started to slowly immerse ourselves in it. And then all of a sudden we knew. We picked up on all the little schemes that they had, all the little games that we can run on people. Because again, it becomes a way of generating revenue. And I like it all the time when somebody said, well, you know what? I was addicted to the game. I was just about money. And I always say, well, how come you ain't got none? I looked in your case and you had a public defender. That don't sound like you had no money to me. That sounds like you was raggedy as a bowl of sauerkraut living like a refugee. And then I said, well, they said, well, I had money. I'm like, and where did you spend it? Oh, well, nobody wants to answer that question. They tell me, you a smart guy. You a smart Alex. See? No, where did you spend the money at that you supposedly generated? 9 times out of 10, guess where they spend it at? The dope house. At the dope house. That's why he's sitting in the chair right next to you. All right? All right? So you slowly start to immerse yourself in this criminal element. Where else do we go? Well, we slowly on our way to the bottom. But there's a word that I want. We slowly start to involve ourselves in most things that are unhealthy. Am I right? Unhealthy. It takes a person who was perfectly healthy or considered normal and starts to immerse them in a very unhealthy lifestyle. Where we go. So when they talk to you about behavior, I want you to try to concentrate some on where you go. Because those are some of the things you're going to have to change or adjust if you intend on living a life chemical-free. Where we go. And it's amazing how reinforcing where we go can be. How many people in here done promised they wasn't going to use no more? And then all of a sudden, you get out of treatment, and you look up, and your feet will be pointed toward the dope house. Am I right? Or if you happen to get some money in your pocket, where do you find your body position itself? Toward the dope house. Am I right? Because that behavior is so very reinforcing. Where you go. It's almost normal for you to want to go there. And you literally have to fight your feet from going that way. Let's take a look at what I do. What do I do? What do we do? We really don't do much other than get high. We really don't do much other than get high. And let's take a look. Most of the things that we think about all center on one goal. And what is that goal? Getting high. So it has such an impact on what I do. We're not going to do anything that doesn't have what? Getting high as a payoff.
Right.
Am I right?
Right.
If getting high is the payoff, then make no mistake about it. We will involve ourselves in whatever process it is. But if there is no payoff, no getting high at the end of it, you can count us out. What I do. It completely changed what I do. And I'll give you an example. I played basketball for 11 years, all right? Played in college, played in high school. I always had a basketball. But for 20 years, I didn't touch a basketball. Anybody want to know why?
Yeah.
I was preoccupied with something else. Anybody know what that was? Getting high. And I literally didn't touch a basketball. I loved to fish before I started getting high. It was 20 years before I touched the fishing rod again. I fish all the time now, but that's the difference between healthy and unhealthy. What I do. How about this? We promise people that we're going to do something, and then we what?
Don't do it.
We don't do it at all. We don't do it at all. I've been on the road with my recovery program and doing what I do for 28 years. I've never missed being where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there in 28 years' time doing this. But if you take a look at my 20 years worth of using, I was never where I was supposed to be when I was supposed to be there, and didn't care about it either. Because if it didn't have getting high involved in it, you can count me out. What I do. What else do we do? Let's take a look at something that's real critical. We call ourselves studious thinkers, am I right? We call ourselves studious thinkers. When the truth of the matter is, we give very little thought to what we do. Addiction controls most of our thinking. See, as I say all the time, healthy human beings have a tendency to function intellect over emotion. Addiction teaches us to function emotion over intellect. Our emotions drive most of our decisions. I want what I want when I want it. All right? In fact, you're going to finish the sentence for me because you know how it goes. And what happens is that ends up impacting what we do because we don't make healthy decisions. We lead with our emotion. You want to know why kids get in as much trouble as they get in? First of all, he's a kid. So that means he's what? He's emotional. He leads with his emotions. And as you get older, you're not supposed to respond like that. You're supposed to be able to use your intellect to make your decisions. But addiction doesn't foster that kind of thought. You react just the opposite to the way that you should. And it continues to cause problems. We will see that we need to pay our light bill. But what does addiction tell us? Huh? They got no business charging me for this light in the first place. Yeah. America's a free country. Electricity ought to be free, am I right? Yeah. You can be in a car. You can be in a car that's sitting on empty. And you'll have $200 in your pocket. We will not stop to get no gas, am I right? You know how many cars I walked off and left right where they ran out of gas and had $250 or $300 in my pocket? Because what do I look like putting my money in a gas pump and I'm on the way to the dope house? Can't even squeeze that thought in there. You're going to have to go up on High Street and get your car, man, because that's where it's at. I'm on my way where?
To the dope house.
To the dope house. And remember, going to cop is serious business, ain't it?
Yeah.
You'll fight your mama about going to cop, won't you?
Lord.
You'll jump on the police about going to cop, won't you? Yeah. She shook her head like, what do I care about the police? That's the same way I thought about it, too. All right? In fact, you'll lie to your mama about going to cop. Am I right?
Right.
Jump on the kids. Take the kids' piggy bank. You know, I took my son's bike when he was a kid and sold it and told him that somebody stole it. Because you know what? His bike got to do with going to cop. What I do. Boy, you'd be amazed at how addiction impacts what you do. The saying that I always use, you know what? It tells you where you're going, how long you're going to be there, who you're going to be with. Yeah. It literally makes all decisions for you. What I do. Man, how addiction influences what I do. In fact, I no longer do any of the things I used to like to do. Anybody notice that? Somebody need to tell me something they used to like to do but no longer do. Give me something that you used to like to do that you no longer do. Go to the movies. When was the last time you been in the movies? And if you was in one, this is the way you was in there. Am I right? I remember, I love entertainment. I remember George Benson was playing in Kansas City. We was talking about it for 2 weeks. He's coming. He's playing Breezing. That's when Breezing was out. No sooner than I got to the stadium, didn't hear a note. When I woke up, it was the janitor hunching me. You got to get up out the chair. We need to clean, man. Concert come and gone. I'm still sitting in the same spot. Ain't heard note, not a single note. Yeah, I had a good one. I always had a good one. I intended on having a good one. You know what? If it was, I didn't know about it because I was going where they had the bomb. Make no mistake about it. I would come across 2 states for the bomb. I'd go sit with the Klan for the bomb. All right? Yeah. Yeah. I'd go sit with the Klan for the bomb. I was going anywhere they had the bomb. If they said it was in Oklahoma, I was down there. If it was in Texas, I was there. Wherever they had it, that's where I was going. Because addiction influences what you do. All I need to do is see somebody in a deep, deep knot. Where you at? Where you been, boy? Where you get that at? Where you get that at? Yeah. And what did it cost? Because I'm on my way, all right? Because I didn't care. There was no such thing as a bad situation to me. My job was to make it work to my behalf. What you do. I had a $1,500 day habit. I woke up every day, didn't have near a quarter. But I couldn't wait to wake up. You want to know why? Because I was going to be on my job. I had to go get that. I went and got it when it was 117 degrees outside. I went and got it when it was 18 below. I went and got it in windstorms, dust storms, tornadoes. In fact, it could have been Hurricane Katrina. And I'd have faced off with that one to get there. Because what has a hurricane got to do with getting high? In fact, everybody in here in these chairs knows for a fact that when that hurricane hit New Orleans and all that water came, them dope fiends was thinking about how to get in them pharmacies down there, boy. They was riding tree limbs, canoes, yeah. Am I right? You know they were. Say, where you going? I'm going to cop, baby, yeah. In fact, there's a tree limb that I know will hold me. I'm gone. I'm floating right down the street, gonna get off on the roof of the pharmacy, going right in there. Pick me up a Coleman lantern on the way down, yeah. So I have some light. I'm home free. Because what has a hurricane got to do with getting high? And look at all the things you have faced off with, said that you wasn't going to have to deal with, dealt with them, and moved on to cop. Everybody in here said they wasn't going to jail, and you looked up and you was in there. And you remember promising yourself that you weren't never coming back? Oh, this is so bad. Oh, God, yeah. I'm in jail. I'm scared. Oh, somebody please make my bond. Dear Lord, please let somebody make my bond. And then when you was on the elevator, on the way down, planning to go to the dope house. No sooner than you stepped on that elevator, on the way down, planning to be at the dope house. You better believe getting high influences what I do. Let's take a look at how I react. Now, there's a mouthful. Because have you ever noticed that we think we're perfectly normal? You ever noticed that about us? In fact, truth of the matter is we think we're the only ones normal, am I right? We think everybody else crazy, am I right? Yeah. We'll tell them in a minute. There's something wrong with you for thinking that there's something wrong with me, am I right? Am I right? Yeah. Because we think that we are the normal ones and everybody else is crazy. Eh? That's why we'll commit the same crime over and over and over again. And then when we get caught, it tickles me, we say, I wonder who told on me. Yeah, I didn't do it. Or be sitting somewhere, you know what? Somebody have some money on the table, they turn their head, it's gone. Turn back around, first thing we say, you think I took it? We think that we are normal and everybody else is crazy. Now, when I'm talking about how we react, a lot of that gets back to this. We don't react with intellect, we react with emotion. We have a word that we use all the time, fair. That ain't fair. You ever notice that about us? See, we want everything to be fair because in our minds, we think that we're fair. When the truth of the matter is, we're just as biased and intolerant as a person can be. In fact, let somebody say something that we don't want to hear. You ever notice the way we react? Let's take this for an example. Everybody in here say they're coming here to help yourself. Am I right? Come here to help. All right, then one of these staff members come to you and say, well, you know what? You're going to need to be at group at 8 in the morning. Who are you talking to? 8 in the morning? I just need some sleep. That's the only thing wrong with me, am I right? I can't get up at no 8 o'clock in the morning. How I react. In fact, cocaine was one of my drugs of choice. Anybody in here ever used cocaine? Well, I got some news for you. You talking about intolerant. That's an understatement when you're talking about cocaine use, am I right? Because basically, our understanding is zero, am I right? It's flat out zero. If you do not agree with everything I say, I'm going to eat you like Hannibal Lecter, am I right?
That's right. That's right.
Am I right? In fact, have you ever noticed how terrified people are when we, and I'm not going to use the word get mad because that's an understatement, when we erupt.
Right.
That's more appropriate because literally if cocaine is your drug of choice, that's what happens. You erupt like Mount St. Helens. Am I right? See, I found that amazing too. I was a speedballer, and I used heroin exclusively for 15 years. And then I messed around and mixed it with a cap of cocaine one day, and then the roof came off of everything. It literally did. It did. See, when I was using the heroin, basically, all I wanted to do is nod and slob on my socks and let that cigarette ash be that long, all right? That's basically what I was going to do. But when I stuck that cocaine in there, then all of a sudden, I became Mount St. Helens. All right? That's how all the stitches got over me. All right? Yeah. That's when I jumped on the police 4 times. It's when I started messing with that coke. Oh, yeah, I jump on them in a minute. She's like, oh, boo, no. Yeah. Because what's the police got to do with getting high? We riding down the street, somebody said, oh, here come the police, you better throw your dope away. Know what I said? She, no, I'm not. Not me, baby. No, I don't care if you're Elliot Ness. I'm not throwing a grain of this dope away. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week. And if I'm under arrest, I suggest you radio for some backup because you're going to need it. And that's exactly what happened, all right? Not only on one occasion, on 3 other occasions after that. And notice what I said. They didn't jump on me. I jumped on them. I jumped on them because what was I trying to protect?
No.
My dope. Let him stick his hand in my pocket and take my dope? Are you crazy? You better be Jeffrey Dahmer. Do you know that? Yeah. Or Hulk Hogan or somebody. Because if you think I'm going to let you run your hand in my pocket and take my package out of there, that ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Why didn't you hide it? You know they was there. They was gonna search.
Hide it? I'm a dope fiend.
Right.
The whole world know I get down. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Got time to be high when I'm gonna disguise myself? Oh, I'm really a mild-mannered citizen just walking down the sidewalk. You can look at me and see that I wasn't no mild-mannered citizen walking down the sidewalk. Gonna let you take my dope? That's out the question. Couldn't even squeeze that in my little head. Eh? How I react. And I mean, like I said, when I stuck that cocaine in there, I literally went to Mount St. Helens. When I would explode, it was absolutely incredible. You know, addiction teaches you not to put yourself last. Is anybody up on that? Oh, yeah. And what sobriety tries to help you understand is that you need to put yourself first. And for a long time, you have been putting yourself last. I want you to have enough courage to put you first. Because if you aren't important to you, then who are you going to be important to? See, I discovered, you know what? That even all the things that had happened, I was still important to me, and I stopped acting like I wasn't important to me. Yeah, I know I had been to the penitentiary 4 times. I know I was 13 times convicted felon. I know most of the people didn't want to be anywhere around me. But make no mistake about it, I was still important to me. Important enough to think that, you know what, I could be better than that. In fact, I had been better than that. Don't sell yourself short on what you're capable of doing. Remember, you've done some miraculous things in a very unhealthy manner. So don't be selling yourself short, literally, on what you're capable of doing. Because the truth of the matter is, you're capable of doing this standing on your head, whether you know it or not. You've got all the assets that you need. And in treatment, don't just let people talk at you. Talk with them. Talk to yourself. When people use terminology to explain this illness, I know a lot of times it seems complicated to you. And I'll give you an example. They say that addiction is compulsive, unmanageable behavior characterized by a loss of control. Well, all those are medical and clinical terms they use to explain this illness. But what does it mean to you as a person? That's what you need to ask yourself. Could it be that you used when you didn't want to use? No. Because if you take all the terminology from around that and strip it down to its bare essence, literally, it means you used when you didn't want to use. Could it possibly mean, when we say compulsive, unmanageable behavior characterized by a loss of control? On the series, Going Home, I framed it by saying, if it's compulsive, unmanageable behavior characterized by a loss of control, then in a practical way, that computes to the, I'm a liar, I'm a cheat, I'm stealing, I'm double-crossing, to be watched, I'm funky. See, that's what it breaks down to. And all those are things that you literally have to sit down and try to make sense to yourself as you're talking to yourself about them. Behavior. That's a term we're familiar with. But if I was to ask everybody what it means so many different things to so many of us. When the truth of the matter is, behavior is about where I go, what I do, and how I react. That's what it's about. Those are 3 things that I want you to concentrate on in your sobriety. Where you go, what you do, and how you react.